Hey guys, this is Ben from the future. Today I want to show you my AI Jarvis, which is my vibe manager that keeps me sane and organized and productive as a founder. I'm going to show you the whole setup on how I have built it so you can do it yourself. Share all of my context and the tools like Cursor and Linear that I use to really get to this Tony Stark experience of having an AI supporting me, getting shit done that is real. As always, the Captain's Insights articles are the way you want to experience them. You can read them on our website, you can watch them on YouTube, or you can listen to them on our Build, Grow, Repeat podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Let's get started. So something really weird happened to me around end of the year where my productivity took a real turn to the better when I, out of all things, moved most of my business context and my to-do list and project management into my code base. But wait, Ben, you are not a developer. What do you mean in your code base? I'm not a developer. I've been 15 years a founder, but mostly with a focus as a marketer. But a year ago, I discovered vibe coding for me. And before that, I used to have all of my documentation in tools like this here, Notion. I have this navigation system, wiki style thing where everything about pirate skills is in here, like how I position this company, who I'm influenced by, my vision, mission, and values for the company. And this was all good, and it got slightly better once Notion, at least on the business price tier, introduced this little AI agent where I could actually choose a good model, not just some cheap-ass generic model that most knowledge tool providers give me, but the actual choice to pick something like Claude Opus 4.6 or ChatGPT 5.2 or Gemini 3 Pro, whatever I feel floats my boat. Yeah, at that moment, my current favorite is Claude Opus 4.6 for all of these strategic tasks. And this was good, but what was the problem? I still didn't feel like I could actually now do things in Notion. I could talk to it, it would write text and nice and help me and be my partner, but I wouldn't get more things done. This was when I moved all of those documents, exported them as a markdown file, which is just another text format, and put them here into my Cursor codebase. Cursor is an IDE, an interactive development environment, normally targeted at developers, but picked up by vibe coders. And this is where I have my normal website. Everything that is on my website is published is in this code base. And there are normal files here you can see on the right where I have these documents again. Yeah, I have a docs folder and there is some additional context I provide there in the code base. And I just got these documents from Notion, put them in here. And here, for example, I have the Pirate Skills About page, which is just a written down document that the AI can use as context. What do I need to know about Pirate Skills, about the team, Ben and Christina, what their goals are, what products they offer, what maybe the acquisition channels are, and all of the good stuff is in here. But even more, like my current bottlenecks, offers, my quarterly goals. I, for a long time, have been practicing a very simple version of OKRs where I just sit down and plan for each quarter and review it and see what I can do better in the next 13 weeks. All of this is in here. Maybe I can show you a sneak peek of that as well. And having the AI have all of this context and access to my website and all of the social media posts I'm doing, etc., is really giving it much more depth in the conversation and the ability to do things for me. That weird thing happened, and now Cursor is able to read and edit all of my files, cross-reference them. And once I had this experience, I saw myself not opening Notion anymore. I really love where Notion went with the Notion AI. And their inability to create code for me. A lot of the things that I do are happening on my website, are newsletters that I'm sending out, are social media posts that I'm creating, are products that I'm developing, and that is happening in code for me. It just happens to be this way that code turns out to be the best way to support us to get things done and to make visible value for our customer. So that happened. Yeah, and these files are really, really helpful, and they are the foundation of my vibe management system. When this term came across my lips, I had to puke first a little bit. Yeah, but after I got over that and I thought how this changed my sanity, my organization level, my productivity, I was like, okay, this is a type of management I absolutely can get behind. So my question to you is, how do you currently organize your work as a founder or a builder? Like, do you have everything in something like Notion or Google Docs or some more Docs or Wikitile type thing? Do you use maybe a project management tool like Asana or Linear or Trello? Or do you use like a notes app like Apple Notes, simple sticky notes, or just keep it in your head? Do you use maybe a spreadsheet? You can choose multiple ones if you like. If you're reading this article, this is an interactive poll, but if you're just watching or listening to it, let me know in the comments how you are currently organizing your work. Or are you already using like an AI-assisted workflow? I had a team using ClickUp with ChatGPT inside of ClickUp, or you can do that in Notion as you saw as well. Or honestly, like, do you not have a system at all? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know how this shapes out. So how have I built this Jarvis style assistant? It has 3 layers to it. The first layer of vibe management is building that context brain. The good thing is you do not have to build extensive documentation and typing it by hand. You can just rant with AI and it will create this document for you. You can just throw your website at it. You can ask it to research you. You can put in presentations and have a conversation where you build up a memory of, for example, what I just showed you in my codebase here, where we have documents about strategies and your OKRs and your current bottlenecks and everything statically about your business, but also very dynamic memory systems. For example, I always do a rough plan of my content, at least for the weekly events that I host, like a quarter ahead, but then I adjust for what is currently in the zeitgeist. I can at any moment ask like, hey, can you help me plan the next week? And it knows what I've planned in the last week and has all of the post context, so it doesn't keep repeating itself. And I just don't have to re-explain anything. That is the power of the context brain, and we will do that in action in a second. So then this happened. I started to use Cursor as my business co-pilot. And Cursor in combination with a third layer, which is like a project management tool, like Linear. And let me just switch to it. Here you can see that I have Cursor open, but I actually in a browser have my project management tool here, showing all of my project ideas. So I call project anything that takes more than a couple of steps that I need to focus on and maybe have a couple of to-dos that I can group together. And everything that I'm planning to do is in here, and I can just talk to it here on the left-hand side. And now I have a project management tool where I actually do not touch anymore. I have not written any of those titles. Everything works like this. Let me demo it to you. I'm going to speak to the AI. I use a tool called Wispr Flow for that. So let me demonstrate. Hey, what do I need to do next week? Look into Linear for that. So now it will process that information, realize I'm supposed to look into Linear, and now it's executing like a tool search with something called an MCP server, which gives Cursor access to software outside. So I connected to my project management tool, I connected to Stripe, to my database, to all kinds of tools. Even like when I run ads, I let it analyze the results of my campaigns. For example, on Meta ads. So, and here you can see, wrapping up this weekend, I need to do my Saturday post and the Sunday post. I need to work on the dynamic event updates and configure the late MCP. And next week, I need to set up the upcoming Forge preview and so on and so forth. So it's very aware of what is actually here on a different website, on linear.app. It's not reading the screen. It's actually going through the backend of Linear and requesting everything and allowing me to update anything in here. And that has a couple of advantages that I wasn't aware of before. For example, you can now tell it something like this: which of these tasks can you do for me? And now it will analyze. These are probably pretty standard tasks that revolve around creating code, writing scripts, etc. And it can identify these tasks and start doing them for me upfront and updating Linear here. Let me maybe pick one and to demonstrate this. So the dynamic event update links, that's true. Add a Builder Forge preview in the navigation. Add the link to desktop and mobile navigation. Let's take this one. So you can simply say something like, all right, go ahead, work on the issue 47 for me and just show me when it's done. So this is now picking the information from a very specific issue. Issues are like to-dos in Linear here. And I think I have this in the optimization thing here. No, actually not. I don't even know where it is. Issue was it? Command K leads you here, and there I can just type in the number. It has full understanding about it. I ranted about this, that I wanted to finally get the Forge preview also into the navigation, and it did the documentation in here, and it even assigned it to me, judged that this is worth 2 points. I'm working on a 5-point system with 1 very simple task, 5 very complex and long tasks. It assigned it to a certain work week for me and was part of a project here. But this was something that I wanted to get out pretty early. And here you can see on the left-hand side, it's just doing it. It's now literally changing the code on my website while we are talking. Here you can see the files that have been changed so far. And here are you didn't even have to look at the code anymore, but you just have to make sure that what it did is something we like, and we can then even say, hey, please open the homepage in the cursor browser and show me. All right, let's take a look where it put it. So here under overview, there it is. There I see the Forge preview, which is part of our event series. And I can now click on it and it goes to the landing page with the Forge preview. And I have no upcoming events, but it also said that it put it here in the footer navigation. I'm happy with that. And I can say now, all right, this looks good. Push it to production and update Linear. And now you can see how it's just like, I didn't look at the code. You saw, I trusted this very simple change to be without any negative effects. But even if some errors would still be caught in here, that deployment, that change to the code wouldn't go out to my users. So now this is pushing that change to my users, and in roughly 5 minutes, it's up on the live website. But I don't have to babysit that process. The interesting part about the update on Linear is now that you see that it even attached the code change to it. It says it's merged, it's still in progress because it's not fully deployed yet. But you can see that this creates such a transparent documentation of all of your workflows. You can go back to anything, reverse anything that didn't work out, but you can get real stuff done. I will even declare this as completely done now. But let's keep it in progress because the AI is actually smarter than me. In this case, it knows, there was a blocking issue before that because I need to set up the dates for the preview events. Otherwise, doesn't make sense to have an event series linked in the navigation that doesn't have any upcoming events yet. So let's go back. Now, Layer 2, as I said, is cursor, is this wonderful playback between my voice interaction, a smart AI model like Claude Opus 4.6, and the ability to interact with tools and get real stuff done for me. And the tool that I've chosen as the third element is Linear, for its ability to have an MCP. It's a developer-first project management tool. It's very familiar with that workflow. And it just turned out that those types of tools are also at the cutting edge of working seamlessly, as you could see, with AI agent for perfect documentation, for being ready that all of your knowledge is in a code base. And the only thing that I do a bit different than a normal developer is that I do not focus just on a product development, but real project management in the broader sense. Yeah, so I can do my marketing work, operations, and my project development with this. That was a huge change, moving from Notion to just having it in the code base where I thought I would be happy, but then I really missed this experience of having proper like a proper project dashboard here, and that was the final straw for me, where I said, like, yeah, that's the experience I want, and I can customize it to my needs. For example, I replaced the backlog with ideas. Those are all kinds of ideas that I have in mind that I want to improve on the product and the marketing. And whenever I have an idea, I can just rent it and say, like, hey, please create a new project in Linear. This is my idea. And it will completely document that. Just to show you, this is the Growth Forge Launch Kit. And I just ran it on a new product idea I had and perfectly documented it. This goes so fast through the voice to text interaction that I actually do it. I see myself doing it, and it increases the probability that this thing will actually get built. Then I do a lot of events. So I have an extra column for all of the upcoming events, so I can always see what is my next event. Yeah, next Wednesday is the Builder Forge, where I will actually have a dynamic session on explaining this whole setup again, but with a group of people, and it's free to join for you. And I can see everything that is coming up for this quarter. But my normal ideas go into planned once I start to take them serious. This is like my overview that tells me this is next. In progress this is what I'm working on right now. And the completed column gives me this beautiful feeling of I actually did complete stuff. This week, I shipped something, I completed stuff. It's very, very important for me as a founder not to get bogged down by all of the stress, but actually seeing, yeah, this is what I did this week, this is what I did the last week, and it's very satisfying, an experience I wouldn't want to go back on. All right, so let's take the next step. So let me go a bit deeper into why this feels so therapeutic. So therapeutic isn't the word that I would have expected using for anything related to management. But it's the word that feels really right. As a founder, I have usually a very high stress level. I always have more to do than I could ever do. I have multiple projects and responsibilities to juggle. And even though I, from the outside, look like a chill guy, my stress level is often pretty high. I just had to learn to manage that better. And this little Jarvis thing really took a leap forward in that and had a meaningful impact on my sanity. Yeah, let's say it like that. It didn't reduce the work at all. It helped me get a lot of the stuff done that I would have to normally do alone. And now I feel like I have a partner in doing that. You know, like the Iron Man scene when Jarvis is working together with Tony Stark and they collaborate seamlessly. This is what I want to get to. It's like having this new teammate sitting right by your side, being there for you and knowing your whole context and really knowing what you committed to and then holding you accountable to getting that stuff done. That made a very meaningful difference. Also, there is like a built-in progression system in here. And you can see it already here on the screenshot when you are reading or watching this article. There's like a burn down chart that you might be familiar from in agile development, where you can see like this week, I've already completed a certain number of points, but there are some left. And there is a sense of I have to complete something this week. And week by week, I see the progress toward that goal line. And every week I can kind of see a quantified, almost gamified version of my productivity. That can go up and down, and I completely leave that up to the AI to judge how complex the task is and give it the 1 to 5 rating system. But this comes automatically out of that system. Maybe I show that to you directly in a project. So here we are back in Cursor looking at that cycle feature from Linear and this beautiful burn down chart. But let's look into the current week. Here I can see everything organized by project, what I've done, what is still open. But this gives me this very strong feeling of progression. And a lot of these things would have taken me weeks, and I've done them in hours, thanks to this collaboration between me, Cursor, and Linear. And they have been done to a standard that is way higher than my expectation was like a year ago. Today, my expectation rose, of course, in terms of design. When I, for example, built a new landing page for the hackathon. Let me show you in a second. Here we still got it live. Let's go to the events, and there's the Vibe Hackathon. So here's a landing page that has complex design, imagery. This was so insane. I just had a huge folder of images, and I just asked the AI, asked Claude Cowork to just semantically rename all of my images and suggested like 10 to me, and I picked those 8. It had all of the context for who I'm building this, the schedule, where I just linked it to another website from Startplatz, where this was already on. That was insane. And then the whole Stripe setup, create a new product, create a checkout experience, make sure people are logged in first, send them to a thank you page, give them what they ask for, etc. All of this stuff has been done in hours instead of weeks. Yeah, and this is just this thing. Yeah, these tasks, a lot of tasks were in here. Yeah, total of 12 points. And I can see on the right-hand side, this was that. But I didn't write down these tasks. I just said, I need to get this done, create a plan, and then please create a project in Notion that reflects this plan. And while you're implementing, keep it up to date. And when you ask yourself what to do next, check this plan. Yeah, and then you can get this automatic tasks lists from Linear. I'm not married to Linear, but the experience they provide and the amount of effort they took in making this seamless and beautiful just makes a thing that I normally discussed, which is wasting my time with management instead of getting shit done. This is so incredibly helpful. So how does this affect my week? On Mondays, I often get started. I take the weekend mostly off to have some time with my kids. Not that I'm not doing a little bit on the weekend, but on Monday, I can sit down and say like, all right, what's the plan for the week? Let's adjust some of the priorities. I want to get this project done. I realize I'm being invited to that event, so let's make a post about that, and so on and so forth. And by Friday, I can say like, I can really see what I've done. And I maybe have some open loops that I can close over the weekend. And I believe this must be the closest thing I could get to that Tony Stark feeling with Jarvis. I speak to the system, it knows my goals, knows my constraints, and I can just say like, hey, I need this landing page, I need to optimize my positioning, I need new copy for this ad, how could we position this product better, can you build this new feature, can you solve this bug? And 80% of the work I can delegate it now, and this is going to get better and better over the coming weeks and months. Of course, I can hear you say like, Ben, but will the AI not just be a sycophant and tell you what you want to hear and just derail your strategy? You need a partner that actually really pushes back. I get this question a lot, and I'm very, very aware of that, and I try to be careful. I know this is such a comfortable bed to lie in, so it can be potentially very hard to get out when you realize this is not it. And you need to be aware of this sycophancy risk, meaning that the AI will just say like, yes, of course, this is the best idea ever. But I believe if you ask the right questions, you can get meaningful pushback. As an example, I did like a little OKR audit. I showed you I have certain goals. Let me show you again. So here are my quarterly goals. Yeah, one of the documents clearly says like, okay, objective 1, establish a unified pirate skills story. Objective 2, build a conversion-ready Forge funnel. Objective 3, provide paid acquisition with a positive ROI with the target of spending 10K per month profitably. That is that. And I ask it like end of February, how do you judge my progress? How would you say my priorities I have set up in the projects overview reflect my OKRs? And which projects should I like add, delete, prioritize higher or lower? And it really pushed back hard. Let me show you. So for example, here it said, your KR2, which is key result 2 target, is 50 paid users by the end of Q1, but you've spent most of January on content infrastructure rather than conversion optimization. At current trajectory, you'll need significant acceleration in February and March to hit this. Very true. Yeah, I focused January completely on my goal of becoming more of a creator, publishing daily, building up that infrastructure that was really well covered by my objective 1. But I have to make a conscious decision to move my priorities, like have content creation on cruise control and move on to the funnel and to payment. Next pushback that was amazing. The Growth Forge cohort launch is listed as a Q1 priority, but I see no project or issue for that in Linear. If the target date is mid-February, planning should start this week. I fucked this up. Yeah, I knew the Growth Forge is going to start in 11 days from today. Today is February 8th. I didn't focus on it enough. Yeah, and it called it out. It clearly saw it. And I've done organic stuff, but I didn't do enough stuff in the sense that I was planning. Next one. You have completed 85% of content-related issues, but only 30% of product development issues. Your OKRs weight product and growth equally. Is this imbalance intentional, or are you defaulting to what feels comfortable? Giving me the choice to, not being judgmental, yeah, but giving me the choice to say like, okay, was it a good choice? Did you do that consciously? And should we maybe update the plan? Or should we change the behavior? And it's always a bit of both. So it caught me out where I was kidding myself about my Q1 priorities. And you can always ask it like, does this plan make sense? How would you improve on this? What do you think about this or that? Being directive can be dangerous because if you say like, do you like this idea? It will obviously most of the time say, yes, this is the most amazing idea. But if you neutrally ask it, like, take a look, compare to our initial assessment, objectively, what would you change? Yeah, what would you improve to get a better result? How can we get this work that we planned for 12 weeks done in 3 weeks? You will get very, very strong answer. The AI is your advisor. You remain in the captain's seat. You decide whether to adjust your plan or correct your behavior. And you have to get to know yourself and this process to make this a productive relationship. Yeah, trust me, it will very soon start feeling like that. And then you can have this beautiful support tool in your life, which feels truly like building yourself a piece of the Iron Man suit, learning to vibe code, learning to vibe market, building these operation harnesses. It's a fascinating time to live in. And I believe that this is what the future of work is looking like. Us having a conversation, having support with an AI, breaking down complex projects into manageable tasks assigning them between yourself and the AI. So if you have written the article, for example, you can now say, you go ahead, take a step at doing the newsletter. You can assign yourself, but you could just as well assign an agent to that. And that has already happened with Linear. You can just in the comments mention add cursor and it will start working on the issues. And this is where I see it going. We are becoming more and more like vibe managers, not looking into the details of every line of code that the AI writes in order to get work done, as long as the work gets done the right way we expect it to at the quality standard. And then we have to get out of the way, let the AI do its thing, be there where it's relevant to stay with the human in the loop, take responsibility for the outcome and what we do with this, and enjoy this shift. Yeah, this new collaboration between us, humans, and the agents that become part of your team. Imagine this. You start your Monday sprint in the morning, and by the afternoon, the agents have already provided with you 80-90% completed task where you just need to correct, steer where it really matters. You as the captain, you set the course, the crew executes, the crew can consist out of humans and AI, but I would highly recommend start focusing on tasks that can be really well done by the AI. It is so much more efficient. No, I cannot say that. I'm not saying we are fully there yet, but the gaps between like planning and execution with the help of AI is closing really fast. What used to take a team of 5, maybe weeks of coordinated work with a lot of daily and weekly meetings that we all love so much can now be done in hours and days with a collaboration setup like I suggested this year. If you're reading this, you have the opportunity to use my 5 prompts that help you to build your own type of Jarvis here. Yeah, it helps you from getting the tools ready to building your context brain, to planning that first sprint and executing those tasks in the same conversation and have an honest audit with it. If that sounds cool to you, then leave some comments here, try it out, let me know how it works, and I'm excited to see you in the next Captain's Insights or in any of our upcoming events that are free to join. See you there. Bye-bye.